Hello everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Destiny video. Today Fantasy Flight released some more news on the Rivals draft set for Destiny. They showed some more cards from the set, showed how the drafts are going to work, and we also got a release date. So the release, at least in limited form, will be coming out this Friday with the draft set. There'll be more of the draft set coming out next year, early next year when Legacies comes out. So draft set will be coming out Friday. However, the contents in that draft set will not be constructed legal until Legacies comes out in January. But you'll be able to get the draft set and draft with it. You can draft your Awakening, Spirit Rebellion, and Empire at War cards into it. And then once Legacies actually comes out, you'll be able to use the cards in the draft set to build constructed decks. So we have some more cards here from the set. We're going to go ahead and take a look at them. First card here, we have the Crafted Lightsaber. So 2 resources, a neutral blue weapon, 2 melee, 3 melee for a resource, a +3 melee, resource, and blank, and an interesting thing here. So play only on an exhausted character. So you have to have that character rolled out before you can play this. It's kind of going to be like a 1-round delay to be able to use it. Unless you're using it, let's say, with somebody like FN2199. So you can roll it, put a weapon on FN, roll it, resolve it, and then later in that round, activate FN, activate him, and then you play this weapon on him. You're then able to roll that weapon into your pool within the first round of playing it. On other characters, it looks like you'll just have to roll them out, play this, and then wait for the next round before you can actually use it. Again, unless you're using somebody like FN. So sides look good. So you have 3 damage sides, 2 resource sides, and it only costs 2. So this is another one of the 2-cost lightsabers that they seem to be going with lately. With like the Ancient Lightsaber, we have the Crossguard Lightsaber, Shoto Lightsaber, and so on. So this one kind of joins that. The ability does make it a little less useful, at least initially, just because you will have to wait until the next round to use it. But I do like the side. So we have a 2, a 2 for a resource, and a +3. And then it has good resource sides too. So you have 2 1 resource sides. And again, this is a neutral card, so you can throw it in your hero decks, you can throw it in your villain decks. And so we have this nice blue lightsaber. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the next card from the draft set. And next up, we have the Fang Fighter. 3 resources, red, neutral, a support vehicle. 2 range damage, 3 range damage, discard shield. The die is covering it, but looks like the top of the die is a resource. So it looks like it's 2 range, 3 range, discard, shield, resource, and possibly a blank. Again, 3 resources. It also has ambush, so once you play it, you get to take that extra action. I like this vehicle. So the damage sides are pretty good. You have a 2 and a 3. You also have discard, a resource, and we don't know if it's going to be a blank or a special. I imagine it's going to be a blank. I don't see this having no blanks, especially for a starter level card or just like a card in the draft set. But I do like that you get ambush out of it, and so you can basically play it and then roll it in, or play this and then play something like partnership, roll in a character along with the Fang Fighter, and then pay a resource to do another action, something like that. Something that lets you get this out and get a character out at the same time could be pretty cool. And then again, I do like the 2 and the 3 range damage sides on the fighter as well. So that's the Fang Fighter. We're going to move into the next card. Next up, we have the T-21 Repeating Blaster, gray neutral weapon upgrade. 3 resources, 2 range damage, +2 range damage, disrupt, resource, special for a resource, and blank. And the special is deal 2 damage to a character, then you may reroll this die instead of removing it from your pool. So that's pretty cool. So if it didn't do the reroll, I wouldn't really want this because of the resource cost on the special. But being able to do the 2 damage, pay that resource to do it, and then roll it in again and maybe get the 2 or the +2, or even the disrupt if you're using like Imperial Inspection. Let's say you rolled the special initially, you then pay that resource, re-roll it, roll the disrupt, and then trigger Imperial Inspection, or anything else that may trigger off of disrupts rolling, or even a resource if you had Salvage Stand or something like that. But good damage side, so a 2, a +2, and then the special which also does 2 damage, so we have 3 damage sides on it. 3 resources might be a little high, I'm not really sure. We'll have to kind of wait and see. I don't expect a whole lot of stuff in the draft set to be, like super great, just because it is kind of like a supplemental thing that you're adding in after you get your stuff out of your pack. So you're drafting it, and then you're filling in your holes in your deck with the draft content. So if you got, like say, like a really good gun out of Empire at War, this might be an all right gun that you can also slot into that deck. But on its own, I do like the sides. I do like that we have 3 damage sides, and then we have 2 other pretty good utility sides with Disrupt and Resource. As long as you can keep an extra resource around and trigger that special, I do like that you also get to re-roll it. So that is the T21 Repeating Blaster. We're going to move it to the next card. Next up, we have the Vibro Sword. Again, neutral gray upgrade weapon, 3 resources. 1 melee, 3 melee for a resource, a +2 melee, discard, resource, and blank, and it also has redeploy, so it gets to get moved once the character event on is defeated. 3 damage sides, I like that. The 3 for a resource is good. I kind of wish the first melee side, the 1 was a 2, but still some decent sides here. You also have that +2, and it has that resource side, so you could also bait and switch if you had potentially maybe had a resource. You could have this on a resource, bait and switch to it, pay that resource and do 3. That could be pretty good. And then, of course, redeploy as well. So that is the Vibro Sword. We're going to move it to the next card. And next up, we have the Sith Temple on Malachor. Remove 1 of your dice to deal 1 unblockable damage to a character. Not sure how I feel about this. It looks like it's a not so good version of, I think it's Separatist base. I think it just does 1 unblockable. But this still does unblockable damage, but you're also forced to remove a die to do that unblockable damage. I don't think a whole lot of people are going to play with this location. I guess this is kind of there if you happen to not open any locations in your packs, or you don't draft any locations. You at least have 1 battlefield to use. The effect, though, to me isn't great, just because you are having to remove that die to do it. Like I said, Separatist base is just a much better battlefield than this. I don't even really use Separatist base. I guess it could be good depending on like how fast you're running, and if you really want to do that 1 blockable damage per turn. I don't see a whole lot of people playing with this, even in draft, because I think a lot of people will probably draft a battlefield that will better suit what they're trying to do. So I don't really see this being played in draft, and I don't see it being played outside of it either, just because you are having to have that extra cost to remove a die to do that. That being said, though, if you do remove a die to deal that damage, it's 1 less die that your opponent could like use with like something like Force Throw or something like that, or something that would let your opponent remove a die to deal damage equal to the side. There's a card in Legacies that we'll get to in another video that is something like remove a die showing damage, could be any die, and it deals half of that damage rounded to, and it turns it into indirect. So if you remove a 2 range side, it turns it into, I don't know if it rounds down or up, but it may be 1 or 2 indirect damage. So if you were to claim this and then remove that die to deal the unblockable damage, it'll be 1 less die that your opponent has to potentially mess with, like Force Throw or this other event from Legacies. But other than that, I don't really see people playing this Sith Temple. And I believe that is the last card that was revealed from the draft set. That's going to do it for this video. I'll be doing another video for some of the other Legacy spoilers that came out today from the community. So several other content creators received spoilers that they discussed. I'm going to break those down and give my thoughts on those as well. That'll be in a future video. But until then, I want to thank everybody for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Take care.